Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm excited to share with you my personal favorite films that I watched this year. Now, as the date of recording this, I'm recording this on December 5th, I have watched 398 movies. So I decided to pick out my favorite 24 films for the year of 2024. This was actually pretty hard because I've watched almost 400 movies and yeah, there was just a lot to choose from. I really enjoyed just watching way more movies this year than I really have any other year, and I'm very grateful that I actually was able to do that this year. But I try to kind of go in and pick out 24 movies that really stuck out to me. So I'm just going to kind of run through these, and I will say that my opinion on these films might change over time. Next week I might have thought of another film to switch out one of these, or maybe I'll watch something this month and realize that it was honestly one of my favorites that I've watched. But as of now, of December 5th, when I'm recording this, these are my top 24 films. I don't have them in any particular order. I just have them in the order that I watched them in. And so I'm going to start in the early months of the year and just kind of work my way through. There are a couple movies that I saw in theaters that I do not have a physical copy of. So I'm just going to kind of, maybe throw up an image of those as they come up. One other criteria that I gave myself is everything in this video was a first time watch for me. So, everything that, there was a few movies this year that I would rewatch, but everything in this stack is stuff that I watched for the very first time. And so the first movie that I want to talk about, which I'm not going to go into too much detail about each individual movie just because I have 24 movies to talk about and I don't want this video to be 2 hours long. And so the first one here is Babylon. This came out in 2022, and I think this was actually a flop at the theaters, but I really enjoyed this. I remember watching it. I got it from the library, and it was just a film that I missed in theaters and I really wanted to see, and I'm very glad that I saw it because it's very good, very well done, and it has it feels like there's a lot of moving pieces in the film, and so I really enjoyed this one. I guess what I will say is all of these movies I recommend. I'm not going to say that after each movie, but all of these I would say if you have not seen them yet, if they sound interesting to you, go check them out because I really do enjoy all of these films. The next one that I really liked was the film Last Night in Soho. Again, it was a first time watch for me, and yeah, I kind of wish I saw this in theaters. I feel like this would have been a fun theater viewing. And yeah, it's Edgar Wright, which I really do like Edgar Wright's stuff. He's the same director as Shaun of the Dead, or Hot Fuzz, or Baby Driver, and World's End and stuff like that. And so he's a very talented, interesting director. And yeah, really enjoyed Last Night in Soho. The next one, this is one that kind of was in a way was a whole thing. It was a whole quest to actually watch this movie because this is a Region B Blu-ray, and so if you're not familiar with what Region B is, basically that is anywhere overseas outside of America. Now, if you're watching this overseas, that's basically where you are for the most part. Some areas do not also use Region A, or some areas use Region there's Region 3 and 4 and stuff. I think Australia is a Region 4, but yeah, this is Region B, so this is a company based out of England, and before I got this movie, I did not have a Region B Blu-ray player, and I really wanted to see this movie, and so it was like a whole thing. This is the first time I ordered from this particular label, and I had to find a region-free Blu-ray player, which would allow me to watch any Blu-ray from overseas, and yeah, it was just a whole thing. But I am very glad that I was able to do that because the movie was On the Silver Globe. This is a film by Andrzej Zulawski, which there's another film in this stack that I'll talk about. Yeah, Andrzej Zulawski is a fascinating film director, and if you have not seen any of his films, I would highly recommend checking some of them out. They are very challenging to watch in some ways because they don't follow a traditional, like what you would think of acting. A lot of the acting is over the top and dramatic and, very strange almost, and I love that about his films. He's a Polish film director, and so I really enjoyed this movie, and unfortunately with this one, there's actually a lot of behind the scenes when it comes to this movie, and I said I wasn't going to talk about each movie, but I feel like I should talk about this one very briefly. basically the government shut down the production of this film, and he was about 80% complete when that happened, and he was ordered to destroy all prints and destroy all costumes and pretty much just destroy everything. And so you know, when you're 80% done with a project like that, because it's a sci-fi epic, when you're 80% done, you know, it's very unfortunate because you have to basically just scrap the whole project. And you know, he had months of work in this, and you know, thankfully somebody somewhere, I don't know if it was him or somebody else, kept a film print of the film. And years later, when he was able to actually release the movie, it was too late to go back and refilm the parts, like the 20% that was missing. And so he, you know, he had to basically just do narration over people in a city of explaining what would be happening in the film, which it kind of gives it this interesting feeling to it, because you have this dystopian other world, you know, this is science fiction world, and then you have modern day Poland, and I believe it was modern day Poland, but it was just a very interesting contrast. And unfortunately with Andrzej Zulawski as a director, he had a very tragic life. And I think people are starting to appreciate him as a film director now. I'm hoping so, because Eureka Entertainment, which is the company that put this out, they put out a nice box set with this movie and two others. And yeah, I believe this was like the first time you could really get your hands on this film. This was a very hard movie to come across. And yeah, I think people maybe, hopefully, are starting to you maybe reevaluate his work and you know, maybe start watching more of his films. And so I personally really love all of the movies that I've seen of his. I've not seen all of them. There's 4, I think, that I've not seen, but from what I've seen, I really like. But the next film, comes from Severin Films, and this is actually now, as of recording this, I believe this is actually out of print, but that is the film The Black Cat. This was a very fascinating film, very colorful. This is I loved how they used the lighting and the colors in this movie. I thought it was very interesting. And yeah, I wish I had the Blu-ray, which I was tempted to get during this last you know, Black Friday sale, but I'm happy with my DVD copy. And yeah, really enjoyed The Black Cat, mainly I would say from the coloring. I'm a big fan of using interesting colors and interesting lighting for different scenes. But the next film, comes from the Criterion Collection. It's a film from 1952. It's in black and white in Japanese. It's 143 minutes, spy number 221, and that is the film Aikiryu. I believe I'm saying that right. I never actually know if I'm saying this right or not, so I do apologize, and please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing this. But yeah, this is a tragic film. It is it's tragic, but it's also a great, just like, outlook on life. It really, I believe this actually translates to life, if I'm not mistaken. And I really enjoy this. It was one that I was kind of intimidated to watch, being, you know, 143 minutes long, in Japanese and black and white. But I'm very glad that I watched this. It's a sad movie, but it really makes you kind of stop and think about life and what you know, living really is all about. And I really liked it. So I would highly recommend checking that out if you have not gotten a chance to watch it. This next one, I wish I had the Criterion 4K of this. This is in the Criterion Collection, but I just have the standard DVD. And this is actually by the director of Sofia Coppola. And that is the film The Virgin Suicides. Yes, so this was a film that I've never seen before, but I obviously, Sofia Coppola is the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola, and I really love his films. I mean, The Godfather is an absolute masterpiece, and Apocalypse Now, and just, you know, a bunch of great films. But I've not watched a lot of Sophia's films. I've seen Lost in Translation, which I really liked, and I think this was the second film I've seen of her work, and I really like this film. The colors and the feeling of the film feels like a very, like, soft, I don't even know how to describe it besides just like soft lighting and soft, like, feeling, until pretty much the end when it gets a little, like, dark. but the story is fascinating. It's tragic. It is heartbreaking, and I really enjoyed it. It's a movie that is not easy to watch, but it is a it's a fascinating film that I really enjoyed. The next one, this is from Severin Films as well, and that is the film Footprints. This comes in a box set. I believe it's the box set of House of Psychotic Women, or there, I think you can also get this on a standard release off of their website. But yeah, this is a fascinating film as well. It's definitely like a just a great 70s like giallo type of film, and yeah, I just remember really enjoying this one, and I would definitely want to like rewatch it at some point because I mean, overall, just Severin Films is just a fantastic company, and I just love everything they put out. But this next movie, comes from the director of Bernardo Bertolini. I believe I'm saying that right too. I apologize again if I'm saying that or mispronouncing that, but I could be, yeah, I could be completely mispronouncing that, but I do apologize. But that is the film Stealing Beauty. So this is the same director as the films of Last Tango in Paris, The Conformist. I'm trying to think of his 1900 is another one that he did. The Dreamers, and I'm trying to think of any others that I can't. There is a film in the Criterion Collection, I believe it, The Reaper is what it translates to. But yeah, Stealing Beauty is a fantastically beautiful film. I've never wanted to live in Italy more than after watching this film. This really captures the beauty of Italy and like the Italian countryside. And yeah, I absolutely really loved this movie. I need to find out if there's a Blu-ray or 4K of this because I really just love it. And this movie kind of made me appreciate his films more and kind of add him to my director section where, before I really liked some of his movies. I really liked The Conformist, and and there's a few others that I really just are very beautiful, very visually beautiful, and just he captures a feeling very well. So I really enjoyed Stealing Beauty. The next movie. This is one that, again, was so high up on my list that I really wanted to watch, and I just could never get a copy of it. And that is the film by Andrzej Zulawski. I'm going to try maybe cover this up. That is the film Possession. Again, Andrzej Zulawski's film from 1981. And I think this was his only English-speaking film, and what a film! This is insane. It is an absolute crazy film, and I love it. It's a complex movie, and this came out from Umbrella Entertainment, and my number is, each one is numbered, so maybe if the camera will focus on this. Yeah, my number is 195 of 1500. So I got a pretty low number in there, but this is one that I really wanted to watch, and I really wanted this particular edition of because it comes in like a nice hard case, comes with a 4K, a book, and some art cards and stuff. So just kind of all kinds of fun stuff in there. But yeah, I would highly recommend checking this movie out, especially if you're a fan of horror. It is just a fascinating film that, again, is kind of challenging, but overall, it is just a great movie. This next movie comes from the Criterion Collection as well. This is one that is, let's see, 1961, 84 minutes in color, in French, and spy number 238. But that is a film, this is from the director of Jean-Luc Godard, and that is the film A Woman is a Woman. I really enjoyed this. I absolutely love Jean-Luc Godard films. I feel like they all have this like fun feeling to them. They're all very, they feel very similar. But overall, I just really liked this movie. And again, some of the coloring in it is just absolutely beautiful, and I really want to revisit that one soon. But the next film, this is the only anime movie actually. Actually might have been the only anime movie that I watched this year, and this is another one that I've seen a lot of like screenshots from or comparisons to other films, and it's one that I just never actually sat down and watched until this year, and that is the film Paprika. Yeah, I really liked this. It was very fascinating. There is a lot of comparisons between this and the movie Inception. It seemed that Christopher Nolan took a lot of inspiration from this movie to make Inception, and so it also kind of deals a lot with like dreams and stuff like that. But it is a fascinating movie, and you know, I'm not the biggest anime fan. I think I only have maybe like 4 anime titles in my whole collection, and I mean, this being one of them. But I really liked this. I think, you know, this, I believe, is the same director as Perfect Blue. I could be mistaken in that. I do apologize if I'm wrong in that. But I really liked this one, and Perfect Blue are some of my favorites of these anime films. But yeah, Paprika was fantastic. The next movie was one that I saw in theaters, and so I will put up a poster or a cover here. It's one that I just have not gotten a chance to pick up in on a physical disc, but that was the movie Challengers. And it's one that's, you know, I don't necessarily like gravitate towards sports movies all that much. I've said it in videos in the past that I'm just not really a sports fan. Just never been something that I've really been interested in, and but the film Challengers was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It's very well edited. I mean, the scenes of just simply conversations, it seems like there are, you know, it is a tennis match between people just talking, and very interesting camera work. I really liked the camera work in the film, and overall I really just enjoyed the movie Challengers, that I really need to get a copy on a physical or on a Blu-ray. This next movie actually has 2 different versions on the same package, but there's a 1970 and a 1967 version of the same movie, technically. One is 82 minutes long, and the 67 version is 71 minutes long, but they're both in color and in English. Spy number 338 from the Criterion Collection, and that is the film Equinox, or The Equinox, A Journey into the Supernatural. I believe I watched Equinox, the 1970 version, which I think the director went back and recut the film to make it a little longer and a little bit more coherent. But yeah, me and my friends sat down and watched this, and I will say, if you are a fan of The Evil Dead, this movie you would probably find interesting. This is a very strange movie to find within the Criterion Collection. This definitely feels like this more belongs in Vinegar Syndrome's catalog, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I really actually loved this movie. I thought it was very interesting, and just overall, it was like it's like a sci-fi, like almost like borderline B movie, but also in like a really good way. And I think, yeah, the budget was only $6,500, which is absolutely insane what they're able to do with this. But yeah, I really liked Equinox. I feel like it's one that gets overlooked within the Criterion Collection. And yeah, I'd highly recommend checking that out if you have not seen it already. This next movie actually has 2 different versions on it as well. There is the television version and the US theatrical version. The television version is from 1973, and it's 297 minutes long in Sweden and color. The US theatrical version is from 1974, so it was recut for a US audience, and it's 169 minutes long in color and in Swedish. So yes, this is a Spy number 229 within the Criterion Collection, and that is a film from Ingmar Bergman, Scenes from a Marriage. Now this is a movie, or rather kind of like a show, like almost like a mini-series. I believe there's 6 episodes within it. I watched the television version to try get the most out of it. I kind of want to rewatch the US theatrical release because yeah, again, it was a tragic film. It was a fascinating film, though, too. You kind of get like these little glimpses of this marriage and just how it changes over time. And I really liked it. And it was a very interesting movie, and almost frustrating at times, too. But it feels very real. It feels like we are just getting, like, we're like a fly on the wall, getting glimpses of these people's marriage over the years. And it reminded me a lot of the Before trilogy, where you're getting these glimpses of these people's lives as time progresses and as they change as people. And I really liked that when movies do that, where it's just it's fascinating to me how I mean, he was able to capture, these two people's stories so well. And yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It is, it's a little intimidating being, especially if you want to watch the television version at 297 minutes long. I think I broke it up over the course of a couple days. I watched a couple episodes, a day basically. But yeah, it's also in Swedish, so you are going to have to be reading subtitles. But it is definitely well worth the journey. I know there was an American or like a U.S. version of the movie, but it's always good to go back to the original, and maybe I wouldn't mind comparing the two. This next movie was another one that was very high up on my list, that I could just never come across a cheap copy, and until I just decided to go for it, buy this off of Synapse Films website. This is a 4K release of the film Phenomena. Yeah, this is Dario Argento, and yeah, I absolutely love Dario Argento. I love everything that he's put out. He's a very fascinating filmmaker to me. I think Suspiria might be in my top 10 favorite horror films of all time. I'm not sure. I'd have to really think about that. But this was fantastic. It was the music. I listen to the soundtrack to this all the time. It is just absolutely a great film. I can't recommend watching this enough, especially if you are a fan of Argento's work. This is a must-watch within his filmography. Or even if you're a fan of horror, this is a must-watch as well. But yeah, this is a great release from Synapse Films, where you have the 4K, you have a poster and a book, all on this beautiful packaging. There's like a hard case on here, which is some beautiful artwork all the way around. And so yeah, absolutely beautiful. I'm very, very happy to have that. This next movie, this also comes from the Criterion Collection. It's from 1979. It's 123 minutes. It's in English and in color. Spy number 724. This is a movie that I think one day I just decided to sit down and watch it, and that is a movie, All That Jazz. This is a film that I wish I watched earlier in life. And I am so grateful that I watched it now, that I can rewatch it in years to come, because this movie is so fascinating, and especially the end sequence with there's like a dance number, and it is just fantastic. It's so beautiful. There's some very interesting set design choices in here, where you might have things happening on the screen that might not make logical sense, but it is just absolutely beautiful and tragic. Again, there's a this tragic through line through the whole film of the character, and it is just just a great movie, and I really cannot wait to revisit this. I've watched the end scene probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times now, because it is just so it ends on such a bang of a note, and that is just absolutely beautiful, especially dealing with Broadway plays and performances and live stuff like that. That's kind of what the whole movie's about, and I absolutely love it, especially when you start looking into the creator behind this. I forget who actually directed this, but let's see, Bob Fosse, I believe is his name. This kind of starts to line up. If you do watch this, I would highly recommend checking out some videos on the director himself, because his life kind of aligns with this movie, and so it feels very personally intertwined with the director and the creator and the writer of the film, and so I really love that about the movie. But the next movie that I'll talk about, this is from Criterion as well, and it's from 1952. It's 89 minutes long, black and white, and in French. It's Spy number 270, and this is the film Casa de Or. I believe I'm saying that right. Again, I apologize if I'm not saying that right, but yeah, just a fantastic film again. There is something about some black and white French films that are just so beautiful. There's some sequences in this movie that are just absolutely beautiful. There is a whole like a coffee shop scene that I absolutely love, and just overall the black and white cinematography is just absolutely beautiful. I think that's the only word I keep coming back to for that film. Is just absolutely beautiful. The next movie I want to talk about, this is also in black and white. It's from 1980. It's 88 minutes long, and that is the film Stardust Memories by Woody Allen. So Woody Allen is one of those directors that I've been slowly in this year. I've been kind of watching some of his earlier works. I really love Annie Hall. That's probably my favorite Woody Allen film, and I really love his writing style. It's a very unique style that I feel like, I don't know, it has its own feeling. You can kind of tell you're watching a Woody Allen movie by just the writing. And Stardust Memories, I heard somebody once compare it to, it's Woody Allen's 8½. If you're not familiar, 8½, is a film by Federico Fellini that's also in the Criterion Collection. It's kind of just going over the story of a filmmaker making a movie, and just kind of the craziness that goes along with that. And Stardust Memories definitely has that, where it is a it has that same feeling. And yeah, it's again just a beautiful film that is funny, it's interesting, it's fast-paced, but yeah, overall I really just enjoyed Stardust Memories. This next movie is one that actually has not been released on physical disc yet, but I'll put up a poster here, and that is the movie The Substance. Now this is one that a friend and I both went to go into like a independent theater, and we watched it, and it was so worth seeing in theaters. It was such a fun time. And I really enjoyed it. It is such a fascinating movie that I wasn't a die-hard fan for the ending. I thought the ending felt a little flat for me, but overall I really enjoy just the story and you know, just the build-up. I thought it was so well done. It was an interesting idea. It was only the second film by this particular director, and I saw her first work, the movie Revenge, and I really liked that one. But this movie, The Substance, was absolutely just amazing. I'm so excited to buy it on 4K and rewatch it, but I really enjoyed it. This next movie also has not come out on physical disc yet, but I did see it in theaters. This is a movie that I was the only one in the theater for the entire time, which I believe was the first time that's ever happened to me, where I was the absolute only one to actually sit there and just watch a movie in theaters. But that is the movie Megapolis, and I'll put a photo here. This is a film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, probably going to be his last movie. He is I think he's like 90 years old. And I know a lot of people didn't like this movie, and it's one that I am very excited to rewatch, because after watching it for the first time, I really loved it. I thought it was such a fascinating film, and then when I started to do a little bit of research on the back history of the movie and his struggles in making it, I kind of realized the complexity of him actually making this movie. And overall, I really liked it. I do think in many years from now, people will maybe like reevaluate it, as I would honestly say, this might be, you know, a little soon to say, but I think people might reevaluate it to be a masterpiece. And that's a little controversial to say, I know, because a lot of people didn't like it, but yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend, when it does come out on physical media, to revisit it, maybe give it another try. I know I'm definitely going to do that, go to watch it again, because overall I just really liked it. The next movie I want to talk about is Terrifier 3, which is also not out on physical media yet. This is one that I was really looking forward to for the year of 2024. I really enjoyed Terrifier 1 and 2. I have both of those on Blu-ray and 4K, and it's just a series that I feel like is a lot of fun. It's a fun modern day like horror film, and I really was looking forward to part 3. And so for the viewing of Terrifier 3, I actually went to the theater and did a double feature of Terrifier 2 and then Terrifier 3. And the night before I went to the theater, I watched Terrifier 1 here at home. And so, yeah, just getting ready for the film. And so it was a great theater experience. I honestly was kind of nervous going into a theater experience for Terrifier 3 because it seems like most horror films that I do go see in theaters, there's always just somebody in the crowd being loud, laughing at parts that really aren't supposed to be like laughed at, just kind of being like, oh, that's not scary, like stuff like that. And just like overall just being very obnoxious in the theaters. And so going into a horror film sometimes like in a theater can be kind of a toss-up, but this time around for Terrifier 3 it was dead quiet the entire time and it was just fantastic. But I'm very much looking forward to getting a copy and watching the film again when it does come out, because it was an interesting installment. Some of the things I would say it might have maybe went a little over the top for the sake of going over the top. But I am curious because I would like to revisit it and kind of, be able to watch it again. And I've rewatched now all of the films. Like I've watched the first part twice and the second part twice as well. And rewatching the second part for a second time, honestly, I like it even more. So I am curious what my opinion will be after I revisit part 3. But yes, Terrifier 3 is on the list. The next movie I want to talk about, this is the 4th installment of a Spanish horror series, but that is Rec 4 Apocalypse. Now, the Rec films, Scream Factory puts out a fantastic box set with all 4 Rec movies on Blu-ray. I would highly recommend grabbing that if you have not already. These are all Spanish films, so you're going to have to read subtitles in all of them. However, it is just fun films. They're basically zombie movies. There was an American remake of the first movie called Quarantine, and it's basically same premise, but yeah, the Rec 4 I really, really liked, mainly because of its setting. The whole movie is set on a ship, and which I absolutely love that idea because it's very isolated and there's really nowhere to go, especially for like a zombie type of movie. But overall, I really just enjoy the series as a whole. All 4 Rec films are just, I don't know, they're different in their own ways, and the third one is also very interesting, like take on the series where it kind of switched from being found footage to not being found footage. And this film right here, Rec 4, is not found footage. And so the first 2 movies were found footage, I should add. But yeah, overall, just Rec is a fantastic series that I'd highly recommend. This next movie is by the director of John Carpenter, and it's starring Sam Neill, and that is the film In the Mouth of Madness. This is a movie that I knew nothing about going into it, and I'm very glad that I did. And I feel like it really benefits going into it completely blind. I've seen like a few like screenshots of the film here and there, but I guess it's inspired by the tales of H.P. Lovecraft, which it definitely has that feeling to it. But overall, I really, really just enjoyed this one. I thought it was an interesting John Carpenter movie. He's in my director's section, and I feel like with John Carpenter, there was a handful of movies that were complete misses for me, but definitely In the Mouth of Madness, I would say, is up there with my some of my favorites. But the last movie that I want to talk about, movie number 24, this is a movie that I've talked about at length on live streams. I want to say I've talked about it in other videos, but it was another one of those movies similar to on the Silver Globe, where it felt like impossible to actually view, but I knew that I really, really wanted to watch it. And this is a movie that, yeah, it was just, it's insane that we even have this film today. But this comes from the year of 1927. It's in black and white, or there's also tinted segments within the film. It's silent because it's from 1927. So it has English like title cards, or I should say, maybe I don't know if the title cards are in English, but there's at least English subtitles. It's 332 minutes long, and so it is a very long film. And if you are a fan of this channel, you already know what movie I'm talking about, but that is the film Napoleon, again from 1927. This movie was a hard film to get. You can buy these off eBay now, but this was put out by BFI, as you can maybe see on the spine if you'll focus on that. But yes, BFI was the company that put out these Blu-rays, but there's only like there's technically 3 different ways to watch this movie. You can buy the Blu-ray, this is just the standard release. They did make 2 different versions. There's a limited edition of this where it like folds out, and it's kind of like, it has like 3 different, like it like folds out to be a whole thing, which I'd love to grab a copy of that, but that is very hard to find and very expensive if you do find it. They made this Blu-ray, those 2 editions. They made a DVD version of this, and then they also released this on Laserdisc. But other than that, as far as I know, there might have been a VHS of this. I'm not 100% sure on that, but as far as I know, those are the only ways to watch this movie. I mean, part of it is the length of 332 minutes long. It is broken into 4 different acts, and it might be one of the most impressive films I've ever seen, especially for its time. It is just an epic. This was supposed to be part 1 of like 7, I believe, from this director to make all of these Napoleon films, and he was going to really tell the story of Napoleon. But yeah, there is just so much to unpack with this film. A couple of the big key things is, one, that they strapped the camera to pretty much everything and anything. There is a time where the camera is on a pendulum, so it's swinging back and forth. There's a time where the camera is strapped to the back of a horse. Obviously there's tripods and just all kinds of stuff like that the camera is on. It's very, very inventive for being 1927. One of the more inventive pieces with this film is the final battle sequence. It's like the last 20-ish, or maybe it's half hour of the film, is shot with these, I'm trying to see if they have any photos of it within here. I don't think I have any photos. The last battle sequence is shot with 3 different cameras, kind of all like next to each other. And so basically they had 3 different cameras shooting, and to show it in a theater, they had to have 3 different projectors with 3 different projection screens, and the projectionist had to time up everything for the last act of the movie to basically show all 3 at the same time. And it gave this very ultra-wide picture, essentially Panavision before Panavision was a thing. And unfortunately with that, it's a very inventive tactic. It's a very interesting thing, and I know I've talked about this in other videos, but I love this movie. I love talking about it. I feel like it's such an interesting film that more people should go see. But unfortunately, I should say that the 3-screen thing, it kind of made the movie fail at the theater, because you were asking an orchestra to play along with the film, because you had to have a live orchestra with this for 332 minutes. Apparently it was supposed to be a longer film, but like I think some of the reels got lost along the way. But yeah, overall, just a very, very interesting, impressive film. I would highly recommend going out, doing some research on this, watching it. If you can find a copy, go onto eBay, find a copy, because it is out of print as a BFI Blu-ray. I will also say this is a Region B Blu-ray, so if you are in America, you will have to get a region-free player to watch this. Either that or get a Laserdisc player and the Laserdisc. I think that's pretty much the only 2 options. But yeah, I will say that was also, I should say, that was my movie number 365 of the year, which was my original goal, was to hit 365. And now that I'm closing in on 400 movies, I'm already trying to decide what will be movie number 400. But those are my top 24 films that I've watched this year. Yeah, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, some of these might change over time. I might change my mind. But for now, as I'm recording this, yeah, those are all my favorites. But I am curious your thoughts. Have you seen any of the movies that I just talked about? What are some of your favorite movies that you watched maybe for the first time this year, or maybe movies that you've watched before and you're rediscovering this year? I am very curious on what your guys' thoughts are in the comments down below. I really do appreciate it when people do comment, because I do take the time to read and look at all of your guys' comments. It's probably one of the more fascinating parts with this whole channel. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye.